Welcome to my Bajerski YouTube channel. For many years I've been a crystal healer per se for 2 decades now, and in that time the amazing synchronicities that happened as a crystal healer, I could probably write about 10 books. I'm going to share with you something now that made me understand crystals beyond any book that could ever really comprehend the power of crystals. I'm not somebody who talks about the crystal Bible, neither do I follow other people's understanding of crystals. I follow my own path, and I think that's what makes me slightly different than most people who regurgitate the same information. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I wanted to, because of stubbornness, and because I didn't just believe what somebody told me, I needed to know. Now, here's the difference between some crystal healers who just relay messages back from what they've read in a book, and some who really do the work and say, actually, that makes sense, but that doesn't make sense. And I found myself saying that doesn't make sense more. And so I was outcasted from a group of so-called, I can't even speak, so-called spiritual, enlightened, gifted healers. I was okay, no problem. I realized the kind of field of work I was in and realized that there was a lot of judgment around, so I started working on my own. As I was working, one lady came, Melissa actually her name was, Melissa came to me, and she was wearing a beautiful pendant around her neck. Really beautiful. And she says, "Oh, you're a crystal healer." I says, "Well, I've only been doing it a couple of years, but yeah, I like to work with crystals." And she said, "Do me a favor." And I said, "Yeah, sure." She says, "Hold this crystal and tell me what you think." So she took it off her neck. And I held it and I said, I instantly got a pain in my side. She said, "Oh, what's wrong?" And I said, "I've got a pain in my side." And she said, "Wow, is there something wrong with the crystal?" I said, "I have no idea." I says, "I just got a pain in my side as soon as I was holding it." And I gave it back and I said, "Are you feeling anything?" She says, No, not really." I said, "That was strange." And then the energy dissipated within 5 minutes. About 2 weeks later, I had got a phone call from this same girl who said to me, "You're not going to believe this." And I said, "What?" She said, 2 or 3 days after we met, I was rushed into hospital and I had my appendix taken out. And I went, okay. So time went by and I was asked again about another crystal from this guy. And it was like, his name was Tim, and he had lovely bobbed hair, very unusual guy, lovely. And I'm like, he's wearing this crystal and he asked me to hold it. And what do you think? You're a crystal healer. And it was like, got a pain in my chest. I can't breathe. Real bad pain. Anyway, and he was like, "Wow, what's wrong with the crystal?" I said, "I don't know. I'm not so sure." I said, "I'm just getting a pain." Anyway, I gave it him back. Remember, this is at the beginning of my understanding of crystals. So I gave it him back. About another week later, phone call. "It's Tim." He says, "Mark, this is the weirdest thing." He says, "I've got a really bad chest infection and I'm on antibiotics and all of these things." He says, "Isn't it weird how you felt a pain in the chest and you gave me the crystal back?" And I'm like, I wonder what the bloody hell this is. In most people's eyes, they may come to think about it as a real negative and think, "Oh, did you do something to the crystal?" And I had them thoughts at one time, and then I realized as I started doing more and more healings that this pain was coming to me a lot when I was working with crystals and working with the most powerful crystal in the world, which is you. And when my client was lying down, I'd scan the body and start doing the healing work, and all of a sudden I'd get this pain. And when I'd finished, I'd say to the client, or they might say to me, did you feel anything? And I might say to them, I got a real pain in my left knee, or I got a pain in my shoulder, or I got a pain in my back. And they would confirm certain things like, oh my God, Mark, I've had a really bad shoulder, just where you just said, or I had a bad arm or a bad knee, just where you said. So now I'm starting to understand that what I'm attuning to is energy, which a crystal picks up on. But then when I thought about it more and started to understand it more, the crystal chooses you. And when the crystal chooses you, it chooses you for a reason of how to heal you on any given level, because you're an unusual and powerful crystal with issues and pains and problems and traumas which manifest to sometimes physical issues. So I over the 5 years, I started putting the pieces together. It's not an instant thing. You put the pieces together as years go by. And today I come to this conclusion that no book can ever really tell you what a crystal does, because the crystal heals you in a unique way. And a crystal, when it's on you, it can be healing you and helping you through something that your body needs to go through. So let's say that you're going through a trauma of maybe your past physical issue. You wear a certain crystal because you feel drawn to it, because that crystal has an energy of healing a certain part of a trauma. Or on a physical note, you might have an issue coming up which is there already, but it's about to resurface, or you're going to have to deal with it. So the crystal brings that energy out and starts to heal you from the issue that could cause major problems long term. So it's almost like a crystal catches something before it goes so far that you can never go back and you can never fix it truly. And that's my understanding. So where I'm going to with this topic of conversation is that being a healer and waking up at 9 in the morning, getting to work for 10 o'clock and starting my healing sessions with my first client at 10, I used to wear certain crystals through the day, and in truth, I never wore always the same crystals, but there were certain crystals that really did me proud. Like, why is it that I've worked all day and I feel so much better than I did yesterday? What crystal did I work with today? And I found over I'd say 6 to 8 months, that there were one crystal that I could always go to and rely on whenever something heavy was happening. And that was a black tektite. A tektite would be always worn around my neck low, always. It would be always around my belly button. Why? I didn't know. I just felt the need to wear this black tektite. So in my eyes, black is a colour of great change. And sometimes when you wear black, I'm smiling because you're going to change shortly, but you don't know what to just yet. So the universe, or you, have a point of call what's about to happen, that your life changes. So black wasn't really something I'd wear as a crystal to think it was going to help heal somebody or heal me from negative energy, because there was other crystals for that. But yet I always wore it, especially if I was doing rituals, if I was doing blessings or ceremonies, I'd wear a black tektite, always, normally a teardrop, and I'd always wear it on my belly button. So I would create a string that would be low enough so that it would hang round my belly button, not knowing why, but I would wear it. But I would have 4 or 5 or 10 crystals around my neck as a crystal healer, because I would randomly choose a crystal, hold, and use my other hand as blasting and working at the same time as putting memory into the crystal, but the crystal is also working with me as well. So it's great combination. Over the years, I was trying to help people who were saying, please Mark, I want to connect with my family in spirit. And I'd use certain crystals all the time, but there were certain crystals that some people were so blocked that I found myself using this one crystal over the 10 years solid, and it was always around my neck, and it was always the go-to crystal that would help people see things that, let's say, they've never seen before. And it was the crystal that would always, not always, I can't say that, but more than likely, after the healing session, they would be blown away. Something would open, something would happen. And that was a Moldavite. And Moldavite was always worn further up. So it would always be around my heart or slightly higher. There were times where people felt kind of lost and lonely and not really knowing where they were going in life. There would be a crystal around my neck called a Herkimer diamond. And a Herkimer diamond would always bring clarity. But what I noticed with Herkimer diamond over the years is that it would amplify any crystal that it was next to. So if I was wearing a Herkimer diamond, and let's say I was also working with an amethyst, if I held them both together, there was a greater sense of connection to spirit than if I just held the amethyst. Why is that? I didn't know, but it was almost like I came to an understanding over the years that the only thought that I had was the Herkimer diamond amplifies crystals to their highest ability. That was my own understanding. I would always wear Herkimer diamond either slightly higher than the Moldavite or sometimes slightly lower, but very close, because I wanted to amplify all the time. So it didn't matter whether it was up or down. So come 12 or 13 or 14 years, people used to ask me the same question. And at this point, I was working with crystals all the time. I was creating crystals by sending them to Bali and having them mounted after I finished working with them. But then there was a point where I thought, there are three crystals that I really go to all the time. And they're always there. If somebody said to me, which three crystals would you always have if you had a choice? Or if somebody said to you, you're only allowed three crystals. And I used to say, that's actually quite easy. Because of my experience of all of those years, if I had no choice but only three crystals, let's say 4, it would be black tektite to absorb negative energy, Moldavite to help people awaken them to see things that they've never seen before, and Herkimer diamond that brings clarity and brings an amazing energy that amplifies everything with these three crystals. So together, those three plus one more, which is the most important, which is me, or should I say you, being the most powerful crystal, that's the 4 crystals that I would have. So somebody said to me, why don't you put these crystals together? And I thought, that's a great idea. I made a phone call to Kutut and I said, Kutut, can we look at trying to create a trinity crystal, 3 most powerful crystals that I've ever worked with? And he said, sure. I went, wow, brilliant. And I said, I'm going to send you 50 crystals of 3. 50 tektite, black tektite, 50 Moldavite, and 50 Herkimer diamond from the Ace of Mines in New York. So I said, I want you to make sure, whatever you do, is when you make this beautiful pendant, that the very black one always is at the bottom. And the reason why I'm thinking is because if that lies at the bottom, that's going to absorb the negative energy from the stomach and around. So that's the quickest place to absorb and the most powerful place where negative energy sits, in my humble opinion. And of course my work was deep, it was heavy, so that resonated with me far more. And I said, but you can choose whether you want to put the Moldavite at the top and the Herkimer diamond in the middle, or the Herkimer diamond at the top and the Moldavite in the middle. So I was very excited. And finally, Kutut said they're ready. The master jewelers had created them, and I was really excited, and they came. And today I want to show you these crystals after many, many years of being this person who created this holy trinity of amazing crystals. I call them the trinity of crystals. Why? Because of my experience over years working with thousands of clients and realizing that these three together are without doubt the most profound crystals in my life and what I've seen and experienced after every healing session. People used to ask me, is there any way, you could create one? And I used to say, no, not really, until the point that I realized I can create them. And to this day, I think I've never been as proud when I see somebody on TV or in wherever it is in the world and I see somebody wearing my crystal. It's happened before. It's happened a few times when I was in London and other places like America and Bali, and when I see people on the web and I see them wearing that particular pendant, and it brings joy to my heart. And to this moment, to today, it's the most sought after crystal in my world, in my website. Can I get enough? No, I can't. I can't make them fast enough. I can't get enough Moldavite. It's very difficult now for me to get Herkimer diamond, so it's a challenge. But when I do, I'm very excited. So today, 3 days ago, I managed to get a few. I managed to have them mounted and they came. So I want to show you them today and show you how beautiful they are. So this is the second collection. The first collection went onto markbajerski.com 2 days ago. And what you're looking at here is the second collection. These are the kind of petite collection. They're much smaller than the other ones that I've just put up, because I had an info, let's say, maybe 100 people say, is there any chance of getting some smaller ones? And I said, yeah, I'll definitely try. So it takes time to get the right crystals, to cherry pick them in the right size, but there's not many, but it's nice to share them with you so you can see them. So here they are. This is my latest collection. I don't know how many there is. There's 20 there or something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or maybe 30 here. There might be 30. That's all I've got. So there they are, 30 of them. So I'm just going to show you them. So here's a beautiful example of what you can see is the black tektite, a beautiful Herkimer diamond, and Moldavite. A genuine Moldavite at the top to open you up and help you see. A beautiful piece of Herkimer diamond that allows you to see clarity in both mind, body, and spirit. And any kind of negative residue from the awakening, from cleansing, from clearing, from attack, from all sorts of negative issues out there. This beautiful piece of tektite is a natural absorber. Do I clean these? No, I don't. Why? Because they are naturally cleansing. They're self-cleansing. There's something about tektite that absorbs negative energy, and keeping all of these clean. So I've got some over here that I have for years, and I've never really energized them in the sun. They are a constant worker. It's like a dynamo. It keeps charging itself. So this, my dear friends, in my world, is the most powerful 3 crystals that come together to create a pendant so profound that it's changed people's lives. And it's changed people's lives after a healing session. And thus people used to say to me, I'd love to have those 3 crystals together. Could you make one? And that was basically how the story of Mark Bajerski trios, Moldavite trios, began. It was organic, natural, and a visual of seeing my clients heal, open up, become aware of life, and become so filled with clarity that, like, wow, you look better, you look stronger, you went through a bad relationship, you've got through it, you're no longer in pain. Something's happening, and taking that away when you've left and you've got that energy of a crystal that's working on those three levels, I've got to say there's nothing that I believe comes close to that energy of enlightenment, clarity, and healing or protection, because healing and protection is pretty much equal. Because as you are clearing the negativity, you're healing, and as you're releasing that energy, the tactite is protecting you because it's absorbing the negative energy that could cause you issue. So that's the story really of my Moldavite trios, and hopefully one day this beautiful trio will be acknowledged as one of the most powerful trios in the world because of truth and because of people's experience, and because they wore a piece and they realized there is something in this. So when anybody says to me, why is it that you talk a lot about Moldavite? Why is it you talk a lot about Tektite? Why is it you always go on about Herkimer Diamond? Now you know why. Because my journey and what I've seen has been so profound at that particular point of a singular soul that came in who was distraught, broken, abused. After a healing session with these three crystals, completely shifted their energy to walking away, having strength, clarity, and cleansing at the same time to be able to change their life. So if you said to me, well, which is the most powerful? I'd say, as a trio, that is. It really is. If you ask me on a singular level, which is the most powerful crystal in the world, what I've seen in my working time, that I guess for a healer, we want people to see rather than for us to heal them and go away and then come back again and we heal them again. And it's like, we don't want that yo-yo energy. We want them to heal and actually know why they've healed and know why they weren't feeling well prior to that. So if they went away and just came back again and you think, wow, don't you know what's wrong with you? Don't you know why you keep coming back? I mean, it's so clear to see, but we realize that sometimes when it's so close to your life, you don't see it when somebody else sees it. But as a pure energy healer, we do not, and we never do tell people what they should and shouldn't do. We just work with them so they can recognize what they need to fix in themselves, but you need to give them the strength first of all. It's like, if somebody's sick and ill, you can't tell them what to do because they just want to get better. Once they've got better, then they can say, okay, now I can understand why, but at the time you're not feeling good, so you don't want to hear anything, you just want to get better. So when I use this trinity of crystals, they used to go away and say, you know what? I know what I need to do now. I'm strengthening my life. I've got abundance back in my life. I've got happiness back in my life because I've cleared this away and I'm not doing that anymore. And I'm doing this. I'm like, okay, wow, that's great. So if somebody was to say to me, what does the crystal do? I say it brings great balance, and it brings strength and grounding, and it helps you see from the connection of the spirit world and from your opening up to your higher self. So clarity and connection and awareness and intuition just becomes so evident when you're wearing it. And people would look at me and just say, yeah, whatever. And I'm saying, well, I can show you 1,000 messages. Up to this moment, I have given away and sold over 10,000 of these. And now it might not sound a lot, but in my world, if I've sold thousands of them and I'm hearing back all the time that, I wouldn't take it off, I wouldn't do with that, I don't know what I'd do without it. It's like, okay, well, I don't hear that every day from other crystals, but this I do. And this has sold organically on its own without me trying to push it. So when people ask me, like today I've been asked maybe twice, could you talk about your favorite crystals? And I said, I've done about 100 videos on them, but I'll do another video. So this is always my go-to. If I'm going out this door and I've got a meeting with somebody and I want to know what they're like, I'll wear a trio. If I'm going to do some really heavy cleansing work on somebody, right, because they're in a bad place, I'll wear a trio. If I have to sit down and I need to channel energy, I wear a trio. If I'm going to do meditation, I wear a trio. If I'm just going to relax, I wear a trio. I wear the trio through my day, through difficult and through easy moments, which means that it's a beautiful crystal to wear all the time. Do I wear it all the time? No. Sometimes I'll have a break and then I'll go back to it and go, oof, brilliant. And sometimes it brings up things that we need to clear, and sometimes it's just amazingly powerful and just blows me away. So it's a very exciting crystal, and it's amazing how it evolves as the stars align and change, and how the universe changes, the crystal changes. It evolves, and I believe it grows in harmony with each other, and they stay together in harmony, and I just think it's amazing. And yet most people don't understand the gift of crystals and the ability that they hold. But that's my truth today. I have not put these on markbajerski.com yet, but there are slightly bigger ones on there right now. Not many, but there are some. I always like to say that it's always beautiful, if you can, to go and support your local crystal store. And what that means is you go down there and ask for those 3 crystals and either hold them or put them, find a jeweller's and ask them to mount them in the way you would like. You might want to mount them in gold or silver or copper or whatever you want, but it doesn't matter how you mount them. It doesn't matter if there's glue on them. It doesn't matter. The power of these crystals, you don't need to worry how you mount them. But that's something you can do. And please send me a photo if you have. I'm always interested in seeing your designs. And that's it. I wanted to share that with you today, and I wanted to share these beautiful, gorgeous, amazing. Look how gorgeous they are. You gotta say they are amazing, right? They really are. They really are amazing. Okay, guys, that's it. That's my talk today about Moldavite, Herkimer diamond, and Tektite. Have a great day.